Welcome to the 21st Century Marketing Meetup. We hold these meetups once each month to explore digital marketing practices, tools, and strategies to help you build your brand through digital media. This month, we have a presentation by Kourosh Behnam, Global Digital Media Associate Manager for Poly. Prior to his presentation, we did an informative one-on-one interview with Kourosh. We present the interview in 3 parts. Here is part 1 of the interview. Welcome, Kourosh. Thanks for coming and being part of the meetup tonight.
Totally. Thank you.
I wanted to do just a general conversation, find out about you and your background, how you got into this, and some general things about how you think about how you approach marketing, digital marketing in particular. How did you get into marketing? What was your path for starting in it?
So to be completely honest, marketing started for me in a way of it was my self-reflection of what I did on my personal channels. So before I got into marketing, I was doing something completely different actually. I was studying political science and history.
Yeah.
I went to grad school for international relations, and then after school I kind of took a look at my career.
Yeah.
And I looked at it and I was like, what I'm doing is not providing, in a sense, where I want to be in my life in terms of, at that time it was financially and all those things that, as a growing pains as you could become an adult was important to me. But I kind of took a step back and looked at what I was really good at in terms of marketing myself, or what I use on a day-to-day basis. I was a millennial, I grew up in the millennial age.
Yeah.
Digital marketing, or at that time, wasn't really a breadth of digital marketing in my mind, but it's more about my own presence and my own social media channels.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I could use these social media channels maybe for business purposes. At that time when I was starting all that, Twitter wasn't really this apocalyptic thing for candidates and campaigns and all this stuff. But then as I saw a lot of traction gaining around that and using social on a personal level, but then I was like, yeah, I can use this for business purposes. I'll find businesses who want that. So when I came back to the States after I studied in the UK, I was like, I'm going to go work for a firm who is basically has digital in their repertoire. And at that time, it was a small digital media consultancy in New York. It's called PSFK at the time, but PSFK basically what they do is they find trends in corporations in terms of future of tech, future of work, future of healthcare, or whatever they were doing. And there was a community management position open, and that community management position was solely focused on monitoring, in a sense, just the digital community of the agency.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The agency would publish a lot of articles that they would write in terms of trend pieces, and then those trend pieces also needed to be just literally published on the social channels. Very basic level, and a couple months here, a couple months there. I stayed there for a year. It turned into publishing articles on social, doing customer service because people would respond on the social updates. It'd be comments through Messenger or on Twitter. Then it came to, hey Kourosh, I need you to promote content. So I would work with an advertising agency. Through PSFK, they would give me dollars to run promoted tweets, and it would ended up being a company, so it ended up being PayPal at that time, and PayPal wanted me to run. So PayPal bought a content report, and that content report was split up into 12 pieces of content that were published on PSFK.com, because PSFK was a digital publication. So they wanted me to take those posts and just raise awareness about them at that time. So it was raising awareness about what PayPal is doing in the payment space at a basic level. So
is this reaching out and getting people to go and read the post?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
So it was basically getting people to, using paid media dollars to reach those people to see the report that PSFK made for PayPal in terms of them being the future of payments.
Yeah.
In the payment sector.
Yeah.
And inevitably that was just for businesses to use PayPal, for individuals to use PayPal, more for businesses, basically.
So that got you started into this.
Yeah, that got
Where
me
from there?
Yeah, that got me started into that. And then after that year, and then I went on to do something very interesting, was where worked at a company called Canary, and I managed the online reputation of executives at Fortune 500 companies. So think of like PR, but for a specific person.
Okay. Yep.
So, I was managing the online reputation of like executives at Pepsi. That was my account, and basically I would do, it was like consultancy. It was like, hey, Joe, what would you like to talk about this week on your channels? Because they're executives, right? They have so much stuff going on in their lives. They want somebody to like manage what they're doing on their digital realm.
Right.
Basically. So like they wanted to be like quote unquote thought leaders in certain spaces. So we would, we had an editorial team that would sift through Feedly and these content syndication things, digital things, and we would find articles for them. We would go to events with them to like basically take their content, their videos, put it into social content, repurpose it, reuse it on LinkedIn, Twitter, LinkedIn and Twitter mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the professional networks.
Yep.
And then after that was over, I moved back to California. I moved to New York for personal reasons. Then I moved back for personal reasons, but then literally used a digital medium, LinkedIn, to find jobs.
There you go.
So, and that was
that made LinkedIn happy. That's what they want you to do.
That's what they want me to do. But I was like, as a digital person, like, what am I going to do to get the best job for myself as quickly as possible?
Yeah.
And literally, I did that for 3 months. Applied on LinkedIn, got a reply, and then I started as a social media specialist at Plantronics, and that was in a sense, my role at that time was. There's a tool that we rolled out. It was called LinkedIn Elevate.
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn Elevate was basically, we still have it, is to basically, it was like an employee advocacy tool. So basically, curating content into LinkedIn Elevate, which is an app and a desktop app as well. And I was curating content for all of our employees. So employees wanted to know what's like top of mind and top level in, say, the unified communication space, because that's what Plantronics is about, or was, now called Poly, but telecommunications. So basically we wanted employees to be like thought leaders in this space of unified communications.
Yeah.
So when salespeople go out and they're talking about this content on their feeds, it would in a sense, make them as thought leaders, but also people would see our content, one of like Plantronics content on their feed, and then also customers would also see, oh, that guy's interesting. What is he saying in the telecommunications space? So because that's where it all starts. The conversation starts digitally these days. Like, people do get on the phone, and the phone call is a touch point as well, like in that whole ecosystem. But, getting, a lot of conversations happen digitally. So LinkedIn Elevate helped, or still helping our sales, mostly our sales team and in the marketing department become these thought leaders.
So this isn't directly about pushing Plantronics products.
No.
But is about, how would you describe, what's it trying to accomplish?
It's trying, from my understanding, what I think about it, it's a trying to accomplish making, say, if you were using it, you as an individual, a better person, you being taught how to manage your online presence better as an employee, but not only are you contributing to the overall marketing goal of Plantronics, but you're also finding other interesting content pieces that make you relevant in the space, which then customers will want to listen to you more.
Right.
So it's not just marketing Plantronics content. Obviously, in a sense, it is in a way too. But there is an earned media value to LinkedIn Elevate too, right? So for example, with the X amount of employees who are on there and who are sharing content, you get X amount of engagements. So in a sense, it's like $3 per engagement. So if you you multiply the number, you do all that, it's like, in a sense, our general employees organically were creating like $100,000 in media value just by themselves, right? But obviously we're paying for LinkedIn Elevate, but for what we paid for, we were generating over the earned media value,
so
leveraging it, but it just goes to show how much media you'd have to spend to get that same amount of engagement. And there was great success. There's people using it and they got sales from it. And obviously in a corporation, you connect LinkedIn Elevate with something called Sales Navigator, and Sales Navigator is a sales tool, but Sales Navigator and LinkedIn work together because you share content, but then that content that you share, you see that customer who would, then you use Sales Navigator to make a lead in your lead flow, and all these things are just connected. But from there, from there I was very fortunate to move to the digital team because while I was at Plantronics, there was a whole leadership, there's a whole background movement going on. So Plantronics bought Polycom. So during that time, my passion was paid digital. So through all these jobs that I did little bits of paid. But then as I got to Plantronics, I got to do more and more. And there was an opportunity that opened, and then I just moved over to the digital team. And
what drew you to the paid media?
What drew me to the paid media is this day and age, you need to spend paid dollars to make an impact the most. Mm-hmm. To raise awareness about your company, to find the best leads as possible. By using paid media dollars, you can target a specific segment of a group or an audience to find the best people possible to buy your product or get the same leads. For example, if Hello Desk wanted to obtain more people to rent out space here, you would want to target a specific segment of people you think that would be the best people to rent space from you.
Yeah.
And you could do that best through using paid media dollars. Obviously you have to have the money to do that, but there is, if you do it correctly, there is value behind that. Because everybody, there's so many people are competing for those ad dollars in those spaces, and to be honest, organic reach is dead. You have this Facebook page with all these followers, but Facebook restricts you by 2%. If you organically push a piece of content out to your network, literally less than 2% see that. So it's a known fact. Organic is very.
So to get it out there, you've got to pay.
You got to
put
pay
some dollars behind it.
Yeah, that's how Facebook. That's how Facebook stock is $180 per share.
Right.
It's making money off of ads, just like Google was, just like Twitter is, right? Google makes millions of dollars monthly off of Google AdWords. So, but yeah, that's and from a paid perspective, it's as me working at for myself or for small businesses or even for Poly, I want to target the best audience as possible and use those dollars the best way possible because I don't want to waste them.
Right.
So there's multiple different ways of ad targeting and using custom audiences that you can draw in from, say, your CRM platform, which is if you use Marketo or if you use Eloqua or if you use MailChimp, all these different data integrations can be used to, target your audience correctly and not spend your media dollars the best way possible.
Thank you for listening. We hope you have enjoyed part 1 of this 3-part interview with Kourosh Behnam. The interview continues with part 2. The 21st Century Marketing Meetups are a project of Ascend Business Design and Development. Our mission at Ascend is to help companies grow profitably. For more videos of the 21CM meetups, visit us on the web at 21cm.global. Do you have a question or a digital marketing need? Reach out to us at Ascend. We're here to help your business grow.